Alright, welcome. This is video number 80. This is all going to be about Galileo and my old dead dudes and telescopes. So Galileo Galilei definitely was the biggest rock star of astronomy. He is most definitely one of my, excuse me, old dead dudes. He was actually arrested for his theories that he came up with. He was tried for heresy and then he was placed under house arrest and he later died for it. So why do I bring him up? What do you need to know about him? Well, first of all, he was the first guy that came up with a refracting telescope, and I'll get into that in a minute. He actually viewed our moon, so the one that's connected to Earth here, and he was able to view what's called marias and highlands and craters, and those are some characteristics that you'll see on the land, and I'll teach you what those are. He saw Venus go through phases, so like our moon goes through phases, so does Venus. And then he saw the rings of Saturn. Before that, we had not. He found 4 of Jupiter's moons, and those are the pictures that you're looking at there. And then he also saw that there were actually sunspots. All right, here's a clip about Galileo. Enjoy.
So where did it all begin? The journey starts with one man and 2 pieces of glass. It is the summer of 1609. Mathematics professor Galileo Galilei is building his own version of an extraordinary new invention. It is the telescope, a name that means far-seeing in ancient Greek. The invention has spread like wildfire across Europe, from a small town in Holland. Spectacle makers working on the most precise glass lenses of the day discovered that 2 different types of lenses held at just the right distance produce a surprising optical effect. They act like a magnifying glass for distant objects. This is the birth of the telescope. Galileo immediately sees the potential of the invention.
Galileo is a practical mathematician. That's his trade. He designs instruments, he teaches the use of these instruments, and these instruments are often used for warfare.
Galileo works out how to increase the magnifying power of the telescope to 8 times what our naked eyes can see, and he hits on a military use for it.
And it would be particularly advantageous if you could see the enemy before he can see you.
The Venetian military buys this new device as a spyglass for spotting enemy ships. But then, Galileo turns his telescope from the Earth to the sky and starts a revolution.
By turning the telescope to the heavens, Galileo enters a whole new regime of practice there, where this instrument can be used to discover things we didn't know before about the world.
Now that you got to see a little video about Galileo, let's talk about the telescope. So, what did scientists use before the invention of the telescope? Not much. They used their eyeballs. That's it. That's all they had. So when we got the telescope, this really revolutionized astronomy and allowed us to learn so much more because we were able to see the objects from far away, more closely up, and we actually discovered quite a few new things. So if you want a definition for a telescope, you need a device or tool used to observe distant objects. It makes objects appear closer, and it also makes them appear larger and brighter. Now, what's the telescope's function? And remember, function's just a funky way of saying job. Well, it's an instrument or tool. It collects and focuses light, and it also can, along with other kinds of electromagnetic waves. Right, summary time. So describe the contributions that Galileo made to astronomy. Be sure you can define and describe the telescope, and adding a diagram certainly wouldn't hurt. And find a famous telescope picture online, and then include a caption and describe what it's looking at, and give me the name of the telescope that took that picture. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in class.